Monday, July 6th. Can you believe it? The 4th of July came and went. I would like to say that it came and went with a bang, but that would have been too obvious and like too corny. That would have been like a big dad joke, which I am famous for doing big dad jokes, I guess. So it's good to see everybody. Good morning. It's been great to have a little bit of a break, but honestly, I was so excited to be able to come back today. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. I missed everybody. I missed being here. I missed you guys. I missed being able to write and do all the things that I've been doing. It was nice though to be able to have a little bit of a rest. It was great. It was a good vacation. It was really nice. And being able to kind of be there with my family, the whole family was able to be there with my kids from Chicago. My son and daughter-in-law came. So we had our two youngest boys as well. So yeah, it was super fun. Traveling with the whole family and the dog and doing all that and navigating it and it was crazy. It was crazy. But here's the cool thing. My wife did such an amazing job of planning everything. I mean, she planned like so much stuff. I mean, like it was just amazing. She had everything kind of all organized and when we got there, finally got to Marathon Key in the northern parts of the Key. It's about an hour and a half away from Key West, which is the southernmost part of the United States. It's the southernmost tip, 90 miles away from Cuba, which is not very far. And so Key West is easily one of my favorite places to go. It's my favorite place in Florida, like the Keys in general. I just love that part of Florida. So easily, like if I had to pick a place in Florida that I would want to live, it would be there probably. I just love the vibe. I like the atmosphere. I just sort of like the way that it feels down there. It's just kind of a cool place. Everything is laid back. But they were pretty on point, man, when it came to taking care of the coronavirus stuff. In fact, they had shut down the entire Keys. Like nobody was allowed in or out, like no tourists, so you had to live there. You had to kind of prove that you lived in the Keys before you could go back down in there if you left for any reason. So they were really trying to control everything, and they were able to do a good job doing that. They didn't have a lot of cases. They just reopened, so that was kind of interesting. So they had been closed, like everything had been closed up until like maybe a couple of weeks ago. So we were one of the first sort of tourists to be coming back. There were some people there, but we were there, but it wasn't bad. So it was kind of like a ghost town in a lot of ways. It was good for us because we were able to do a lot of stuff and not be around people, which was nice. But we had a great time. Then we were able to come back here to Austin. I was so glad to get home. Be able to participate in worship yesterday. I didn't have to preach, which was good coming off of vacation. I didn't have that kind of hanging over my head as I was coming back. And then Pastor Britta did a great job with her sermon yesterday, and the worship service was absolutely amazing. It was awesome. We had videos. We had all kinds of awesomeness and great teaching and preaching. And so it was a good day. It was a really good worship service. I was really happy to be a part of that. And to not have any stress, right? Just to wake up on Sunday, kind of leisurely get to church. I didn't have to prepare anything. Although I missed it. I will say this. It was weird being there and doing all the stuff and then just kind of sit down, and not preaching. So I'm looking forward to preaching this coming Sunday. We're going to continue this focused sermon series. So I'm going to be preaching this coming Sunday, and I think Maybe the week after that. I'm not sure. We've been doing the thing that we did last year where we had a lot of different voices, a lot of folks preaching during the summer. So it was for a couple of different reasons. So I'm preaching this coming week, the next 2 weeks. I'm preaching the next 2 weeks. And so I'll be preaching on Acts chapter 17 this coming week. And this is the story of the Apostle Paul, who gets kicked out of all of the best places and finally ends up in Athens. And so there's a great moment where he has the opportunity to share. When he shares Jesus, when he shows Jesus, then other people get an opportunity to know Jesus. And so we're going to be talking about that this coming Sunday, Acts chapter 17, a moment in Paul's career that's known as the Mars Hill moment. And that's the Roman name for what was called the Areopagus in Greek. And you can go and visit that spot, the Areopagus. I did that. I had the opportunity to do that a few years ago with my wife, Meredith. We stood there on the Areopagus where Paul preached to the people of Athens. And I read that passage out loud while I was standing there. It was a freaking amazing moment. I was a blubbering mess, man. Just the weight of that, the reality of it was so amazing. So I'm going to preach on that this coming Sunday. And then the following week, I'm going to preach on a passage of scripture that I have never preached on ever. And it's the story of Paul and the shipwreck, right? He was shipwrecked, and there's a whole thing that goes along with that. And so at any rate, we're going to be doing those two coming up, and then we'll finish out the month of July with Pastor Britta is going to finish this out preaching on a passage from Revelation. So we're doing this series and series. And then what was I saying? Oh, before my screen went black. So last month we talked about getting to know Jesus, like seeing Jesus in the world, being able to trust in what you can't see because of what you can see. And now we're going to take the next step in that, because the month of July is all about showing Jesus, like taking Jesus out into the world. And so anyway, that's going to be cool stuff. Warren, I've been thrown out of better places than this, Paul. Yeah, he's definitely was able to say that. He was tossed out of all of the best places. Ephesus, Jerusalem. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of all the places that the Apostle Paul was tossed out of. So, oh, you can hear but can't see me. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on. That's the spotlight. Okay, I'm not sure. Hold on. There we go. All right, so I'm going live again. So it tells me that I'm live now. So for some reason, there we go. I mean, I'm looking at the Facebook feed. I'm looking at the Twitter feed. I'm having problems with Restream today, apparently. So that's the way that's happening. Okay. So that's better. All right. So we're back up. All right, cool. All right. So as long as you guys are able to see me, what's going on. I don't know exactly what happened there. That was weird. It gave me like a weird signal. I don't know. Gremlins, man. I'm coming back from vacation, and it's just decided that it wants to be evil. So I don't know what's going on there. There we go. All right. Well, I'm not sure if Twitter is responding or not, but we shall see. I'm going to check that out and see if that's happening there. Yeah, it looks like Twitter's gone, so we're doing okay. All right, cool. All right, so that's what's happening in terms of preaching world. So I'll be here the rest of this week, obviously, here from 9 a.m. to whenever. And so we'll be doing that Monday through Friday. This coming Wednesday, if you are interested, and we're going to be sharing all the information about the class that we've got coming up. Now, there's a whole series, a 6-week class of discussing racial injustice and kind of learning and getting some history on the issues of race, racial strife and struggles in America. And so those of you who were able to go to the last discussion that we had, it was awesome. I think it was one of the best that I've ever seen done in that, in terms of the interaction and everything too. And Carl and Floyd, one of our church members, and just an amazing educator. She's facilitating those. So we're excited about that, and I'm pretty pumped up about the opportunity to be able to continue these conversations. So we're going to be having those conversations going forward. You should have, if you're on our email list, you should have received all the information about how to sign up for those. And we'll make sure that we get all of that out this week into all of the different formats and social media and email and so forth. That'll be happening tomorrow. So you'll see all that stuff tomorrow, and probably maybe even some of it today. I'm not sure exactly what we've got set up in terms of scheduling for the communication. But at any rate, that's what we'll be doing. And so make sure that you sign up for that and share it with your friends. We'd love to have a bigger conversation with a wider group of people, but it's something that our church wants to do. We're going to be doing this as a congregation. So pretty cool stuff. Okay, so let me think about anything else like that. I published a podcast like right before I left, and that was the first part of the conversation that I had with Bobby Masingwa, my good friend from Florida. Something went kaflooey with my computer, and I lost like a bunch of files. I lost it was just, everything was all messed up. And I think that might be part of my problem today. I had to re-sign into everything. There must have been some sort of update that happened, iris thing going and all this stuff. And so anyway, I had created a podcast, the part 2, and it got deleted. So I've got to start all over again. But that's going to be happening this week. I'll have part 2 of my conversation with Bobby Masingwa. And then I'm going to be hopefully following up with some conversations with some other Black church leaders as we continue that conversations on issues of racial injustice. So we didn't want to just let that go, right? Because all of the fervor has sort of died down, right? There's not as many news stories going on right now about protests, because the protests, have kind of diminished to a certain extent. And so the easy thing to do, I think, for a lot of people is to be like, whew, right? Oh, that happened. That was terrible, but it's all over, and everybody can go back to doing things the way they used to do it, right? Which is sort of the way that a lot of people are approaching all this coronavirus stuff. It's just like, if we can just white knuckle this, if we can just kind of get through it, or, with some people, it is choose to ignore it altogether, which is really kind of hard. I mean, there's a person that I know that was one of the folks that was kind of like, who cares? I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not doing this stuff. And then got it, got the coronavirus, right? And so, there's a lot of people that, they just want everything to go away. We all do, right? We want it to go back to being the way that it used to be for a certain extent, right? That's what we're all wishing for. We long for that, and we mourn it to a certain extent. We're in grief about that, right? That things seem to be changing to the extent that maybe it won't be the way that it used to be. Well, I can tell you right now, honestly, in all certainty, I'm not certain about a lot of things, but one thing I am certain about is that life is not going to be the same as it was before. We can bid that goodbye, right? So all of what was before is not going to be the way that it's going to be going forward. And so, that's a hard thing to have to grasp, but that's something that all of us are doing. So one of the things that we need to do, though, is to not waste these moments, not waste the revelations, and not waste the learning that we've been able to absorb as a part of all this, not just about the virus and not just about what it means to be a community, and not just about how things have changed in terms of online communities and how those are viable and vibrant And that's the way that we are able to stay together. So it's not just about that, but it's also the things that we're learning about ourselves in terms of our country, our own history, and the alternative history that we've chosen to ignore to a certain extent of people of color in the United States. So at any rate, I didn't want that to be wasted. I didn't want us to waste that moment. So I wanted us to continue doing these things. So that's what we've been doing. But anyway, that's all the things that are sort of happening. And I know we've got more events and more things. I have purposefully been off of all of the communication. I didn't really look at my emails all that much. We did have a church member, somebody that was a regular attendee, regular person that came every Sunday for several years, as long as I've been here. And they passed away. Beth Hughes passed away. So I am going to be doing a memorial service coming up. That'll be the second memorial service that I've done during the coronavirus crisis. I've actually done a wedding too. But that was outside of somebody's house, and so it was very small, like 5 people. But life goes on, right? And the cycles of life go on as well. And so, yeah, it's been kind of interesting. Okay, so today I woke up late. I overslept, which is why I'm wearing a hat. And I didn't really have like a thing to talk about today in terms of like figuring out my shirts and doing all that. So I did wear my Shine Down shirt, right? So this is a song the band Shine Down. So you can kind of see it here. Their shirt Atlas Falls. This is from their song Atlas Falls, and it's a super amazing song. And the reason why I was wearing it is because I talked about this song a long time ago. I actually put the link to the video in the comment section and encourage y'all to listen to it. It's harder rock. It's not like it's not like some of my usual stuff, like like yelling into the microphone stuff, which I listened to quite a bit of that. But so it's a lot. You can understand the lyrics, which is a good thing in music, I suppose. And it's also super positive. They released the song as during the midst of the coronavirus crisis. They wrote the song and produced it and did all that. Kind of in response to what was going on, and all of the proceeds to the song and to the shirt, right? So I bought the shirt. It took a while for it to get here. It got here like while I was gone on vacation. But at any rate, all the proceeds to the shirt and the song and anything that you buy from Shine Down, related to this, goes to help those who are on the front lines of fighting the COVID crisis. And so anyway, just a great band. I love Shine Down. They just came out with a new album maybe a couple of years ago called Attention, and it was amazing. It was like one of my favorite albums that year. Just really, really, really good lyrics. They're great lyricists. Their music is heavy, but it's not like overly heavy, so it's like it's a good rock and roll band, and I was looking forward to seeing them in concert. I think they were going to be coming here to Austin on tour, and I was looking forward to seeing them, just like I was looking forward to seeing a ton of concerts that have all gotten canceled. Like all of the shows, I say canceled, they've rescheduled them for a year from now. So that's the thing that's kind of crazy. All of the concert promoters, all of the people that not only promote concerts, but are also promoting and scheduling venues, events, all that stuff. They basically have bagged the entire year of 2020, and they're moving on to 2021. So all of those concerts that I got tickets for all got cut. The only one that I haven't gotten a notice on is the Def Leppard Motley Crue concert that was supposed to happen like in October, I think, or September. Oh, and the Kiss tour, the End of the World Kiss tour that was supposed to happen in October. So I haven't heard anything about that. I'm anticipating that those will all get rescheduled or canceled as well. So it was a bummer, man. I was looking forward to a great summer of music and being out, and it was going to start with man. I had Dropkick Murphys, which is a band, like an Irish punk band, that were going to play down at the Long Center outside. And there was like a whole bunch of shows, man. I'm bummed. That's one of the wonderful things about living in Austin is all of the fantastic music and all of the bands that come here. I mean, everybody comes here, or to San Antonio. And so, it's always a pleasure to be able to go to all these shows, but man, oh man, what a bummer. So anyway, yep, another one of the things that we can grieve. But at any rate, that's my shirt today. I don't really have like a trivia question to go along with it, but I would encourage you to check out Shine Down. Shine Down, you can kind of see it right there. And the song Atlas Falls. Pay attention to the lyrics. It's based on the Greek mythology of Atlas, Atlas, the god who held up the world, right? And so Hercules has to trick him in order to get the golden apples, right? Because only Atlas could get the golden apples for Hercules, one of his tasks that he had to perform. And so Hercules took over holding the world up. That's how strong he was. But then Atlas was like, you can hold it for a while. I could use a break. And so Hercules has to trick him. He's like, well, let me get a better hold. Like right now, I'm a little uncomfortable holding the world up, but I need to get a better. So if you could just take it for a second and I'll get a better hold. And then as soon as Atlas took the world, then Hercules grabbed the apples and took off. So at any rate, there you go. But that's based on that Greek mythology. Okay. Shall we get to it? Let's see if we can make this happen today. And go straight to, oops, no audio again. You still can't hear me? Yeah. Hold on. I can hear myself on the Facebook. Yep, there we go. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of that. I can hear myself on the Facebook, but you guys still having problems hearing me? Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna forge ahead. If we're having issues, then we'll just deal with them. Okay. So I'll work this out on my end. All right. So let me get to the Devo for today, which is called Bottomless, and it was a reflection kind of on my on the trip this week. All right, so most folks can hear. Okay, so here we go. I went on a much needed vacation with my family last week to Key West, which is probably my favorite place in all of Florida. I'm always drawn to places that have their own sense of self. Cities and towns and spaces that are unique and quirky, they're artistic and filled with generative energy. And so that's one of the many reasons why I was drawn to Austin. The fact that, I was called here, the fact that we had miraculous sort of things that got us here, that was all part of that. But part of the reason why my heart sort of kept tugging towards Austin was because it's one of those places that I just felt, I felt something when I was here. So in the past, we would have wandered the streets of Key West in the evening, and they would have been teeming with people, restaurants and bars filled to capacity. There would have been music pouring out of every venue, musicians in the streets, artists everywhere selling their work. But things were different this time. This time, the streets weren't full of people. Most of the venues were closed. There were few musicians outside, and the ones that were out had their voices muffled behind masks as they sang. Life during COVID-19 changes everything. Much like it does to our bodies, this virus destroys life and the space around it, tearing down the ways that we celebrate, enjoy, and fully participate in life. It even threatens to take apart the very spaces and places that once gave us life, if we let it. You see, it's easy in our current circumstances to begin to despair that life won't ever be as enjoyable as it once was. We can begin to lose hope in the efficacy and powers of the sacred life-giving spaces that we have relied upon in the past. I read this poem by Richard Wilbur the other day that really helped me to make sense of how all of these overwhelming feelings can keep us spinning toward hopelessness and helplessness. And I'm going to post it into the Facebook feed here. And it reads, "The world is bottomless, a drift of star specks or the Red King's dream, and fogs our thoughts, although it is not true that we grasp nothing till we grasp it all." In other words, we think we have to have all the answers to the questions that plague us. We believe we know how things ought to be, at least in our own minds, and we have to figure it all out. But the world is deeper and more complex than that, and we don't do ourselves any favors when we continue to raise our expectations to levels that don't even exist anymore. It's like this. We keep trying to climb the ladder that we believe will get us out of our current mess, and we struggle to get to the top of it. And then when we do, we realize we had it leaning against the wrong wall. As I walked through the streets of Key West last week, I suddenly realized that the space around me might have changed in the way that I understood it, but that it had a great deal of life to give in ways that I'd never before imagined. God is like this. We think we have some things about God figured out, and then when our world falls apart or gets turned upside down, we're suddenly aware that we have nothing figured out when it comes to God. One of the ancient Hebrew prophets spoke of the bottomless nature of God in this way, and I'll put it in here. This is from the prophet Isaiah. "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways." As you move through the familiar spaces in your life today, be aware of the changes. Mourn the loss of your old feelings. Know that there is more to them, more to all of this, and definitely more to God who is present in the midst of it. And may the grace and peace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you now and always. Amen. Well, it's good to be back. It was good to be writing again, although I was running a little bit late today. I don't like that. I like being ready, on time, not stressed, not having to worry about anything. But it was good just to be able to do it. It's good to be here. It's good to be able to share with y'all once again. And I will be back every day this week, and hopefully without any glitches. We had quite a few of those today for some stinking reason, but we'll figure that out, and we'll make sure that we are here. And so tune in tomorrow and every day this week. We'll be here at 9 a.m. ready to rock and roll. And I'll have better trivia next time. I'll have better trivia. So it'll be good. But check out that Shine Down song if you haven't done it yet. It's Shine Down. I'll do it again. Shine Down, Atlas Falls. And I will do my best not to blast this into the, there we go. I'm going to hit the pause on it, but I'm going to put the link to it in the Facebook feed so you guys can see it. But it's a fantastic song. And I think this is the lyric video, so you can just actually pay attention to the lyrics. So it's not like a video of like all this stuff going on. It's a lyric video. And so check that out. That's a really, really good song. And it's one that I think, it's one of those ones that for me, it was like really inspirational. It really kind of made sense to me. It made me feel better. It's like one of those cool songs like that. So check it out. Shine Down, Atlas Falls. And if you are so inclined and you want to buy one of these awesome shirts, you can do that from their website as well. All right. Have a great day, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. I will see you guys in the morning, but also be aware that we're going to be doing some cool stuff on Wednesdays from 7 to 8:30. We have our class on racial injustice. For those of you who have been coming on my Holy Land classes, you've already got the time slot set up. It's all good. So we would encourage you to do that once again. I'm going to make sure that everybody that signed up for the one that we just did gets all the information about the new class. And so I'm excited about that. Well, you guys have a fantastic day. Be well, be safe, stay positive, and just remember that there is more to all of this, that God is in the midst of this. There's more to God than we could ever imagine. There's more to all of this. It's going to be amazing on the other side. We're just going to have to stick together and take care of one another. And love on our communities. And that's what we intend to do as a family of faith with our Shepherd of the Hills family. And so love you guys. Have a wonderful day and be well. Take care. Count it all joy, guys.